0 to 60 can define a performance car, but it's the fastest 60 to 0 that's the aim of Tarok's brakes. From road cars to race cars, circuits, special stages, or the autostrada, nothing reduces speed like Tarok's brakes. Italy gave the world the art of Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Tarok's has given drivers the art of stopping. For more information and to acquire your own masterpiece, visit taroks.co.uk. Yes, it's me, Mike Stone, and this is the Backseat Driver Podcast. It's the fastest, it's the friendliest, and it's for all the family. The Gas Shocks 116 Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup are the fastest growing race series in the UK, taking in 6 one-hour races and 8 sprints at all the top circuits. Visit 116trophy.com to find out more and get yourself behind the wheel. I'd like to welcome to the Backseat Driver Radio Show Mike Heap of Vintage Lakeland Tours. What is it? Well, as we all know, Yorkshire and Cumbria butt up against each other. So what better way of seeing them from the seat of vintage Austin? Mike, welcome to the Backseat Driver Radio Show.
Thank you very much.
How did all this come about? What gave you the idea of chauffeuring people round in a beautiful 1920s Austin?
Well, as a child, I grew up with all this vintage machinery. My grandfather was an absolute enthusiast, motorbikes, vintage cars, and wherever we went, people always said, God, I'd love to go for a ride in that.
They do. They're an absolute, whether you're a car enthusiast or not, vintage cars have an allure.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've got a charm all of their own.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, people smile and wave and what have you. They're not offensive in any way. You know, everybody likes them. They're a pleasure to drive. They're a pleasure to look at. And for people that have never been in a vintage car, it really is a mini assault on the senses because it is so completely different to a modern car.
Oh yeah, modern cars, the driver and occupants are isolated from everything. A vintage car, even as a passenger, you are involved.
Absolutely, yeah. The sounds, the smells. Okay, yeah, they're not fast. They're not designed to be fast. They were built for comfort.
Yeah.
And one of the little sort of slogans that I've got in my paperwork is she's not built for speed.
Yeah.
It's not about miles per hour, it's about smiles per hour.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it does.
So what gave you the idea?
Well, having gone to countless shows, people, as I said, always said I'd love to go for a ride in that. They obviously didn't have a vintage car of their own. And I've lived in the Lake District all my life. I see all these tour companies, minibus tours here, there and everywhere. And I'd say it probably dawned on me a good 20 years ago, maybe longer. And I thought, well, why not?
Yeah.
But life just got in the way. I had a young family, obviously we just bought a house.
Yeah.
There was always a cost implication which always prevented me from doing it. And it had been festering at the back of my mind for all these years. And then about 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, which really turned my life upside down.
Yeah.
Up to that point, I'd been working for 15 years prior in a local paper mill, working shifts, which wasn't conducive to good health. And it gave me a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, redundancies happened at the mill, and I thought, this is it, this is the opportunity. I'll take the redundancy, I'll buy the vintage car which is suitable for what I need it for, and here we are today. I've got the car, I've started doing the tours, and it's been very, very successful.
Yeah. Now the car, which is parked outside, what exactly is it?
It's a 1928 Austin 12.4 Windsor Saloon, built by the original Austin company in Longbridge. The 12.4 relates to the horsepower. It's only a 12 horsepower engine, so there's not a lot of power there.
Back in the day, 12 horse wasn't bad, but there again there was all the taxation problems.
That's
so
it.
They kept the horsepower purposely low.
Absolutely. But having said that, it is geared perfectly.
Yeah.
I've been up over Kirkstone Pass.
Because I was just going to say, we're here in the lakes in Cumbria, and Yorkshire, and it's not known for being flat.
No, it is a touch on the hilly side. We've got some steep ones, sort of 1 in 4, 1 in 3, some of them, and it is that low geared. You just select the correct gear before you really need it.
Yeah.
And just let it purr away and let it take you over the top.
Yeah.
It does it no problem.
Now the car itself has an interesting history. It started as a saloon, but it hasn't always been a saloon.
No, that's true. In the mid 1930s, it was purchased by a farmer who very quickly whipped the body off it and converted it into a farm truck. So it had a very hard life on the farm. The reason why the Austin 12s or this often happened to the Austin 12s, is they were so reliable. The engines are pretty bulletproof. Although extremely simple, they are very, very over.
Well, back there they engineered cars and engines to last, didn't they?
Yeah.
And the other thing is the simplicity of them. Well, it was either the chauffeur who had to repair it and maintain it, or the owner had to repair and maintain it, which meant this is from an era when you could change a cylinder head gasket in about 30 minutes.
Yes, yeah. You know, I've got the original handbook for the car.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what's inside there. It takes you through removing the cylinder head, doing your valve clearances, setting up the timing, absolutely anything and everything, adjusting the brakes, getting the correct, everything.
Yeah.
Whereas if you compare that to a modern car, the first thing it tells you not to do is to drink the contents of the battery.
Yes.
So I don't think.
And you open the bonnet on a modern car, and there's a big plastic shield over it to stop you doing anything, and you need a laptop for it to tell you what's wrong.
Absolutely. The modern cars, they're not designed to be. If something goes wrong, they're not designed to be repaired. If a part fails, you take it off and you replace it with a brand new one.
Because this brings me to one of my pet gripes. Mechanics are a dying breed. The only thing we now have are fitters who take one bit off and stick a new version of it on.
Absolutely. With these, they are hands-on. Yeah. But that's part of the joy of it. If you don't mind getting your hands dirty, as you said, they are very simplistic.
Yeah.
With a modicum of common sense, you can look at something and work out exactly how that part works, and you can see where it's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And then it's repairable from that point onwards.
So, where did you get the car from?
Right, well, this car I purchased from a gentleman on Merseyside who I'd never met before. I saw it advertised on a website, and I went down, had a look, and when he opened his garage, there were 5 of them in there. He was an absolute Austin nut.
Yeah.
And basically, he had one from around about 1917-ish.
Yeah.
But the majority of them were 12s. And he had his own wedding car business.
Yeah.
But he'd restored God knows how many over the years. And sat in the corner at the back of the garage was his latest project, which was the reason why he was selling this one.
Yeah.
It was to make room for the next one, and obviously give him the funds so he could restore the one in the corner.
So the body that's on it now is a perfect reproduction of the body that it started life with.
Absolutely.
So who built that body? Is it the guy you bought it from?
It is.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because the Austin body, up to the windscreen, it's steel.
Yeah.
From that point back, it's an ash frame.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's built that body. You need good carpentry skills, obviously.
Yeah.
And the roof, even though it looks solid, it's not. It's a vinyl roof on there, and you've got wooden slats and everything underneath to give it its rigidity and what have you. But yeah, it's a good strong.
So
design.
which model is your Austin?
It's the Windsor Saloon, the 12-4 Windsor Saloon.
Because there were a few of them, weren't there?
There were three that Austin. There was the Burnham. And then there was the soft top, which was the Clifton.
Yeah.
The Clifton is the car that the Gumdrop books were written about. They're all very similar. Mine has the leather interior and wood. The Burnham had a fabric interior.
Yeah.
But basically the same engine, because back then when you purchased a car, you purchased a chassis and an engine. And then generally what was done, it would then be sent to a coach builders of your choice, and you could have whatever style of body you liked putting on it. Whereas Austin, these were their own in-house bodies that you bought, so you bought the complete car.
Yeah. Because this one of yours was the posh one, wasn't it?
It is, yeah, the posh one by 1928 standards. But cars that were built then, they were all posh.
Yeah.
Basically, it doesn't matter what make you went for, whether it was Rolls-Royce, Wolseley, Bentley. It was the same format. You bought your chassis and then you got it coach built where you'd like it, whether it be Mulliner, if it was Rolls-Royce or whoever. But the motor car was purely for the rich. They were often chauffeur driven. And it wasn't until 1922, really, when Herbert Austin brought out the Austin 7, that motor cars became available to the masses.
Yeah.
Back then, times were hard. And to be able to buy a motor car for the princely sum, eventually of about £125, brand new, was really quite a feat. So if you like, the Austin 7 was the Ford Fiesta or the Ford Escort of its day, the Mini of its day, if you like.
So did you set out to buy an Austin, or did you have any other makes and models in mind?
I was mulling over a Rolls-Royce.
Yeah.
What put me off was the expense of if anything major went wrong with that. Yeah. You've got a major problem. The beauty of the
you can see your wallet withdraw.
Yes. Yes. Along with the contents of your fridge and everything else. So Austins, there's a good reason why I chose Austins, and this goes back to my grandfather, who was very successful. He had his own garage. During the war, he was an agricultural contractor.
Yeah.
So basically what he did was he built threshing machines from scratch, and he converted Austin 12s into tractors.
Oh, right.
Because farms weren't mechanised then.
No.
So basically he would build a tractor out of an Austin 12.
Yeah.
The reason he built them, and I remember him telling me, was because it was such a strong chassis and the engine was bomb-proof.
Yeah.
So you had reliability there. And it's true. It is true. This car, I've had it 2 years now.
Yeah.
I do well over 6,000 miles a year in it. It's never missed a beat.
Yeah.
Never missed a beat. It starts first time, every time, and it goes anywhere you want it to go. And it's a lovely, smooth driving car. It is. And it's so much more comfortable as well than a modern car.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing. I mean, it's like I said before we went on air, I occasionally drive a friend of mine's little Austin 7. And the one thing you notice, it rides over potholes and speed humps like they're not there.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's because it came from an era when a lot of roads weren't metalled. There'd be tarmac roads, but there would be, for one better term, rough tracks.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And when you look at them as well, the actual build, all they are really is a mechanised horse carriage. When you look at the chassis, it's all spring suspension on there. And, you know, it's a ladder chassis underneath with an oak frame on top and a petrol engine stuck at the front. You know, rather than a horse. But they're built to such a high standard as well. Because cars back then, especially this type of car, as we said, it was for the well-off that could afford to. So they were hand-built, and they were built with pride and passion.
Oh yeah, they were built to last, unlike the modern car, they were built to last.
Absolutely.
They would like you to go back and buy another one, but it didn't have to be next year when the new registration came out.
No.
So, have you learned how to work on the car? Was it something that was already there?
It's something that was already there. I grew up with this stuff. As I said, my grandfather I was brought up by my grandparents. He was an absolute vintage nut. He had vintage cars. His passion was motorbikes. I remember we had a big garage, and he'd open up the garage, and there was 5 or 6 bikes restored, and then there was a big stack of shelves on one side of the garage. There must have been 15, 20 bikes up there waiting to be restored. The car-wise, originally, he had a Bentley. 1930s Bentley. It was an absolute rust bucket, waiting to be restored. But unfortunately, ill health got the better of him, and he looked at it and he thought, this is too much. So he sold it, and he got a 1924 Clement Talbot, which was the original Talbot company based in London, from London. A doctor's coupe, 2-seater with dicky seat. Again, an absolute rock box, but it's much easier than the Bentley to restore. And that's when my grandfather passed, was left to me, and I enjoyed that car for the next 15, 20 years. Absolutely fabulous car. Following on from that, I then got the urge to buy an MG, a 2-seater MG, 1930s. Again, an absolute marvel of a car. But I didn't have room for 2, so we sold the Talbot, which broke my heart. Because of its history, especially with my grandfather. But the MG was just far more usable on the modern roads. You could cruise at 50, 60 miles an hour all day in that thing. And my best friend and I, about 10 years ago, we drove from here to Le Mans in it for the 24-hour race. We did from here down to Portsmouth in one swoop. Took us about 7.5 hours. Absolutely fabulous car. Following that, I then got an itch for something a little bit more modern, so I bought myself an MGB GT, which is like the modern man sort of road into classic cars. There's lots of them. They're very affordable.
You can get every spare part going.
Absolutely.
You can run them as a daily driver if you want.
And I did. I did. I ran it as my daily driver for about 12 months. Again, a great little car. I went touring around Scotland in that. But it wasn't old enough. It wasn't old enough. It didn't have the same charm that the vintage stuff has. And then obviously with what happened to me health-wise and this sort of thought that I'd had for all those years and the redundancy, that's when I thought, right, now's the time to get the Austin. My grandfather recommended them. He said that's the route to go down.
So if they were good enough for him,
they were good enough for him, they're good enough for me.
Now, setting up the business wasn't quite plain sailing, was it?
It wasn't. Getting it licensed through the local authority was an absolute nightmare. And I can understand why, from the local authority's point of view. Obviously, we're not dealing with a a modern Kia or something like that you see as registered taxis. We're dealing with a 94-year-old motor car.
Yeah.
And obviously they had their concerns, is it safe? Well, the answer to that is yes, it is safe. I had to get an independent engineer's report done on the car, and that report came back as the vehicle being in exceptional condition.
Yeah.
It had to undergo an MOT plus a taxi test on top of that, which it flew through. No advisories, and at that point I thought, right, we've got this. The car's safe, it's proven to be safe, and yet when we went in front of the subcommittee, they basically turned around and said, no, we're not, we can't pass this.
Yeah.
And the biggest reason was the fact that it didn't have seat belts.
Yeah.
Which I fully understand, but I knew it complied with all the motoring regulations that the DVSA set down.
Yeah.
It's not South Lakeland District Council that sets the standard of motor vehicles, it's the DVSA, and if a vehicle doesn't comply with those rules, it's not road legal. This car complied fully.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to take them to Magistrates Court to appeal the decision, and the judges basically agreed with me, saying that the vehicle's road legal.
Yeah.
And that the local authority should relook at reissuing a licence. So October.
Not being funny. The one thing is, yes, it's classified as a taxi, but it doesn't stand on a local taxi rank. You don't get rung up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely,
you come and pick us up at such and such a place.
Absolutely not. That was never ever the intention. All I wanted to do was offer people the chance to experience a vintage motor car, enjoy the Lake District and the Yorkshire Dales at the same time. We live in a part of the country of outstanding natural beauty. It's absolutely stunning. And what better way to do it than buy a vintage car? It was the perfect car for what I wanted to do. You've got a lovely high seating position. You've got 3 windows down each side, so you've got great visibility. You can see over the dry stone walls, and you're travelling at, you're cruising at a speed averagely not more than 30 miles an hour, so you've got plenty of time to take it all in. It's just the perfect way to experience the lakes and dales.
Now, if somebody comes along and wants a tour, have you worked out all the routes, or do you take them to where they've asked to go, or do you have routes in mind? Because I conclude it will be done on, shall we say, distance or time.
Yeah, but basically there's 2 ways. I've got set routes, which people can basically just book straight over the phone, whether it's a Southern Lakes tour, a Northern Lakes tour. Some people just want to go out for an hour, just to experience it, or an afternoon tea tour. But then on top of that, I can do a bespoke tour. If there's something specific that they want to see or do, then I can mould it around what they want to do.
So where do you get to? Because I mean, like for my radio show, which is Yorkshire centric as such, which bits of Yorkshire do you get to?
Right, okay, well, I do a tour called There's Cheese in Those Dales, and basically that sets off here from Windermere. We head over towards Kirby Lonsdale. We'll stop in Kirby Lonsdale for about 40 minutes. Then we head up to Ingleton, stop at White Scar Caves, and then drive over towards Hawes under the Ribblehead Viaduct, to Hawes to the Creamery. Depending on time then, we can then carry a little bit further on, heading sort of towards Leyburn type area. Or we'll come back and head towards Sedberth through the Howgills and that way. It's lovely. It's a lovely tour, that one. It's nice. Everything's at a nice relaxed pace. Takes about 5 hours. But plenty of stops along the way. Time to enjoy it.
So, what type of people book you?
That's a very good question. All types.
Yeah.
All types. Yeah.
I conclude you'll get the old, not being funny, the old couple. My dad had one of these.
Yes, yeah. You know, I've had people celebrating the 90th birthdays coming on tour who can remember these cars. Because they made a lot of them. They made over 300,000 of the heavy 12s.
Yeah.
And 80% of London taxis were heavy 12s in the 1930s and 1940s. So yeah, they were a well-known car. So yeah, people in the 90s reminiscing. The younger generation basically wanting to experience something old but new to them.
Because I'm going to say, if you get a young passenger or young passengers, I conclude you will explain what they are and how they work, because they just won't grasp, not being funny, they won't grasp the concept of cars like these.
No, absolutely. You know, driving a vintage car is very different to your modern car. You've got it's a crash gearbox, which is an unfortunate term, but it's a crash box.
Double clutch. How many? Just out of interest, how many gears has it got?
It's got 4.
All right.
I've only ever used 3.
Yeah.
First, I have never ever used, even going over Honister Pass fully laden.
Because it's so low.
It's so low geared.
Yeah.
First is really a crawler gear.
Yeah.
If you're on a hill that is so steep that you require first gear, you shouldn't be there. It's that sort of situation.
Yeah.
It's very low geared. Second and third, you could pull off quite happily in either gear from stationary. And fourth is a very long gear, so you can pop it into fourth gear at maybe 15 miles an hour, and that'll take you all the way up. Apparently it has a top speed of 50. I've never been anywhere near 50. But 35's a nice happy speed. It just purrs along at that.
So the youngsters will be quite fascinated with a car that doesn't go very quickly.
Yeah. But the strange thing is that they all smile. Everyone's smiling when they're in it. It's something new. It's something that they've never experienced before. It is different. You know, in a modern car, you're wrapped up in this cell, and I don't know, they're quite clinical, aren't they?
Well, I'll be quite honest. I mean, you climb in most modern cars. I used to review new cars for a living, and it got to the stage where I used to have to look at the badge on the steering wheel to think, what am I driving?
What am I in?
Am I in? Because they're all blob-like. They're all this 4x4, which I've always said, if you don't need a 4-wheel drive, go and buy an estate car. You don't need anything like this. But every vintage car was different. I mean, you could get the Austins like yours, but you get the different bodyworks and everything else. And they were all different, even by the same manufacturer, they were different cars.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, different end uses and what have you. The basis of them all was the same. But obviously your bodywork changed, your end use changed. You know, the Austin especially were quite big in military vehicles at the time, the run up to World War II. And what a lot of people don't realise is the Longbridge plant just outside Birmingham during the war, when it retooled, they were manufacturing Lancaster bombers there. Austin, it doesn't matter on the make at the time. They were all varied as to what they could offer people. Even Rolls-Royce, you know, they're known for their luxury cars, but the military side.
But they built armoured cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to be asked, are you busy? Is it doing well?
It's doing well. It's doing better than I expected for the first year, which is good. It's covered its costs. It's put me enough money in the bank to cover the costs for next year. So I'm in a happy place as far as that goes.
And is it something you would consider expanding on?
I'd like to. I would like to. I would love to run a second car.
Similar car, or would you think?
Similar. We'd go for exactly the same.
Right.
exactly the same. It's tried, tested, it's proven, it works. Plus, if I went for exactly the same car, if I had an issue with one, then the mechanics are the same.
Well, to use the old phrase, if all went wrong, you could rob a bit off one and put it on the other.
Yeah, precisely. You know, I've had a few little niggles. You know, silly little things like brushes in the dynamo needed changing. It stopped charging suddenly. You know, an hour's work. You know, you can whiz a dynamo off in minutes. You take the 4 screws out the end, pull pull it all apart and clean up the commutator, bang some new brushes in the other end and stick it all back together, back on the car, flick the switch, it's charging, jobs are good.
Well, it's like we said about the MGBs, though they're a bit new for you, and like the Austin 7s, you can get the parts for them.
You can.
So you're not driving, though it's 90 years old, it's not an obsolete car.
Absolutely not. You know, you've got the Owners Club, the Vintage Austin Register. Strangely enough, I did have an issue earlier in the year where the clutch release bearing went. I'd just completed a tour. Look at the gods on my side. I'd literally just dropped the people off outside the guest house, jumped in the car, put my foot on the clutch, and it fell to the floor. So I managed to get the car back to my house. We towed it back to, because I live in Windermere, towed it back to where I keep the car in Kendal. And I phoned the guy that I bought the car off, and I said, look, the bearing's gone, have you got a spare? Oh, I've got 5. You know, come down and get one. I said, right, fine, will. As luck would have it, I was on my way to a wedding down in Gloucestershire that week, so I'd just call in and pick one up. But then, strangely, I'd been at a show earlier that week, and I'd met a bloke who was talking to me about this fella he knew who had a load of Austin 12 spares. The phone rang. It was him. He said, oh, you met my friend at this show, and he said you might be interested in buying some spares. I said, you haven't got a clutch release bearing, have you? He said, I've got the entire housing, I've got the lot. I said, it's here. He was at Garstang.
Oh, right.
I said, right, I'll be there in 40 minutes. Drove down, got the bearing, had the gearbox out that night, back in the next day, ready to go. So, there you go. Look at the gods.
Now, if somebody wants to get hold of you and book you for a tour, how do they go about it?
Well, they can contact me through my website, which is vintagelakelandtours.com. Or they can telephone me. I've got my Facebook page up as well, Vintage Lakeland Tours Facebook page. You can contact me through Messenger and through WhatsApp on there as well. Or you can give me a call on 015 42484, which is a Windermere number.
Mike Heap, it's been a pleasure chatting to you, and thank you for joining me on the Backseat Driver Radio Show.
Thank you, Mark.
Rarely beaten on price, never beaten on service. Whether it's cars, bikes or commercials, Hodder Tyres are the best in the business. And when it comes to tyre expertise and advice to supplying the correct tyres for your vehicle's specific requirements, nobody comes close to David Lakin and the Hodder Tyres team. So give them a call on 01200 613 192 or visit the website at hoddertyres.co.uk.